Indianapolis might not be the first city that you think of when it comes to wealth, but that's exactly why the ultra wealthy are moving in. Over the past few years, it's really become one of the most desirable, tax-friendly, and strategically located places in the entire Midwest. Because once you see what's really happening here, it all starts to make some sense. How Indianapolis has turned into a haven for business owners, investors, and high-end net worth families who just want more privacy and space without the price tags that you find on all of the coasts. You'll see why luxury buyers from Chicago, New York, California, and even abroad, overseas, they're quietly shifting their money and their lifestyles to Indiana. And we'll also talk about exactly where they're building and buying. So from gated golf course communities to waterfront properties, we'll get into that. I'm Jason Compton, your real estate advisor. My team and I, we help clients find properties all over the Indianapolis metro. And today, I'm going to break down exactly why the ultra wealthy are calling Indianapolis home. So let's start with what's really changed and what's driving the city's luxury market. So Indianapolis is becoming the Midwest's new wealth capital, and that's driven a lot by corporate and economic expansion of some really big companies. Eli Lilly is a really good example. They've got a $9 billion project going on in Lebanon, just outside of Indianapolis. It's in the LEAP district expansion, and it's specifically in Boone County, one of the largest private investments that we've seen in Indiana history. And it includes 2 new manufacturing sites for Lilly. And it's going to employ over 1,000 high salary biotech and executive workers, plus thousands of construction jobs as the project moves forward and additional projects come up because of it. We're also seeing additional expansions of other big companies like Salesforce. And if you're looking at downtown Indy, the tallest building in downtown Indy is the Salesforce building. So they're a big player here. Also, companies like Cummins, Roche Diagnostics, companies like that, they continue to bring in high-income professionals to the area. So why would the ultra wealthy choose this place to live? What are the advantages for someone like that to live in a state like Indiana? Well, a big reason would be the tax structure and wealth retention. So Indiana's flat state income tax, it's currently at 3.05%, but that's dropping this year to 3% in 2025. And that's a new state law. Also, the state eliminated the estate and inheritance taxes in 2013. So it's one of the most inheritance-friendly environments that you're going to find anywhere in the Midwest. Also, property taxes, they're constitutionally capped at 1% of the assessed value of the property. Now that would be for a primary residence, and it's 2% for other residential structures and homes like investment properties. That's still fairly low. But when you get up to 3%, now we're talking about commercial properties. Overall though, the property tax structure in Indiana is pretty inexpensive. If you compare that to other states like nearby Illinois, it's almost 5%. New York, you're talking almost 11%. California, over 13%. So the ongoing savings for all of your top earners are pretty significant, especially when you're factoring no estate tax and all those low property tax caps. And then you have the relative value of the actual luxury real estate itself. Some of the high-end suburbs like Carmel, Zionsville, Meridian Hills, Westfield, they average sometimes between $250 and $350 a square foot. So a $2 to $3 million budget in Carmel or Zionsville, that's pretty easily going to secure you a 5,000 to 7,000 square foot home. And sometimes actually a lot more than that. And then the home's also probably going to be on a larger lot, at least a half an acre, maybe larger than that. And then you have a lot more custom designs within the home, and then smart integration, pool, maybe golf course frontage or waterfront. And just to contrast that, let's say a comparable home in Los Angeles or Miami, it's going to probably exceed $1,000 a square foot. So that's going to confirm that Indianapolis, it offers roughly 3 to 4 times the value that you're going to find in a really similar build quality. And then you have all the national national recognition and the livability of different places around the Indiana Metro. As an example, Carmel, Indiana, it continues to earn national recognition every single year. Just recently it was ranked number 4 on Money Magazine's Best Places to Live in 2024. It's been on that list multiple times, and it's not the only place that's been on that list. Westfield's been on that list. Zionsville's been on that list. Fishers has been on that list. You can name a number of different places around the Indy Metro, and they're going to be high on lists like that. Niche.com, it's on one of the best suburbs in America to live. And just looking at Carmel specifically, why in the world would it be on a list like that? Well, you've got more than 200 miles of different types of trails through the city. You've got A+ rated schools, and then you've got cultural anchors. You've got things like the Center for Performing Arts, which is a destination for a lot of people around the entire metro. It's a magnet for affluent families and things that they want as far as their culture is concerned, seeking a balance in their lifestyle. If you look at places like Grand Park in Westfield, it's a $400 million plus sports and mixed use development, youth sports, gigantic, unbelievably huge park that's part of a grand plan to bring people to that city of Westfield. And also you have a sense of privacy and discretion within the wealth culture. Indianapolis, it's known for quiet wealth, and some of your local high net worth buyers, they prefer that. They prefer the privacy, they prefer the safety, and they prefer that integration within the city too, the ability to integrate with it without being on display. Now, this is something that affects everybody, not just the ultra wealthy, but the infrastructure and connectivity that Indianapolis and the entire metro has. As an example, the Indianapolis International Airport has been ranked the #1 airport in North America by J.D. Power for 12 consecutive years. Plus, it's very well connected to other cities across the country, lots and lots of direct flights, but also private flights. Find it pretty easy to get in and out of Indianapolis International. And it's only 40 minutes at most. Plus the airport's FedEx Express Global Hub, which is the second largest worldwide, and the UPS Regional Hub, that enhances its connectivity as well. So now let's get into part 2. So now we understand the wealth shift and that it's happening, where the ultra wealthy are actually buying across the greater Indianapolis metro. Of course, we have Carmel, which is kind of the flagship of Midwest luxury. Carmel's definitely become synonymous with upscale Midwestern living. You have top-rated schools, you have master plan communities, you have walkability, you have bikeability, and then you have design-led homes that compete with any U.S. suburb as far as livability is concerned. Carmel's cultural core, which is right smack in the middle, you've got it made up of Midtown, City Center, the Arts and Design District. It's definitely a place that draws in a lot of professionals, entrepreneurs, families just wanting that lifestyle with trails and restaurants and theaters and boutique retail, all just within minutes of each other. The luxury builds in Carmel, they typically range from 1.5 million to 4 million, and sometimes more than that, of course. And you can have custom homes, they can get into 5,000 square feet or more, and you can have some really high-end architecture in these homes, smart home packed as well, and also amenity packed properties. But there's a catch, of course. Carmel's top neighborhoods, they rarely have any open inventory. A lot of the premier properties they sell off the market or through local networks. So working with an agent who's connected inside that circle is crucial. Another place we're gonna see a lot of this is gonna be in Zionsville. So Zionsville, you're gonna have a place where gated golf luxury, it meets historic charm. And you can see that pretty easily when you go into old downtown Zionsville. That's a place that's just gonna to blend that old town and the small town and all of the elegance and the feelings that you would have with a place like that with new wave luxury. So you've got the brick Main Street, which it just feels like a postcard, and really the definition of quaint when you go through there, and the feeling of small town Indiana. It's literally 20 minutes to 30 minutes at most to downtown Indianapolis. So outside of that, when I mentioned gated golf communities, you have places like Holiday Farms, which is built around a Pete Dye championship golf course. Absolutely beautiful. Some of the best new custom luxury homes have been built around Holiday Farms. And it's only a few minutes away from that quaint downtown Zionsville that I mentioned. And the homes in Holiday Farms, they can be anywhere from $1.5 million up to $5 million or so. It just depends on, are you on a wooded lot? Are you on golf course frontage? Just where is that home specifically, and how large and custom is that home? For all the executives, entrepreneurs who want just that extra privacy, that extra security, and the family-friendly feel that Zionsville has, along with being really extremely private and quiet, it has definitely become a favorite over the years. A little tip about purchasing or looking in a place like that: you have to pay close attention to the membership fees and the architectural guidelines before you get a project started. The build timelines, those architectural guidelines, they can vary quite a bit. And even the membership rules or requirements can vary quite a bit. And they can sometimes vary lot by lot. So it's important to review every single detail and all the documents associated with that. And of course, we have Westfield on the north side too. So you can get country club living, but you also have a city that really is a growth engine. It's where you have master planning and it meets opportunity in the future. The centerpiece of Westfield, as far as communities go, golf course communities, is Chatham Hills. It's another Pete Dye golf community. And if you've never heard of Pete Dye as the golf architect, he's probably one of the most well-known in the entire world, but he's from Indianapolis. And so there are a lot of Pete Dye designs around the Indy Metro and Indiana in general. So Chatham Hills is definitely one of those. And beyond golf for Westfield, I mentioned Grand Park, which is a 400-acre national sports campus. Lots of youth sports go through there every single year. There's more than 2 million people that visit it each year, which is a tremendous amount of people and the tourism that goes through a place like Westfield. It's transformed Westfield quite a lot into a really booming commercial hub, and it's attracting restaurants, hotels, and really high-end residential growth as well. And luxury buyers, they oftentimes like Westfield because it's a mix of newer construction and a lot of value per square foot, and really a lot of space as well. Custom homes in Westfield, they usually range from about $1.2 million to $3 million, and a lot of the neighborhoods, they have resort level type of amenities. So you have fitness facilities, you have pools, you have pickleball courts, and tennis courts sometimes go along with that, basketball courts, private dining sometimes. So it's really neat to have a lot of those things in your neighborhood that are just right there at your fingertips. Now, one tip I would give to you about a place like Westfield or a place like Carmel is that you have to confirm a lot of the HOA covenants and restrictions on not only the design of your house, but what you can do to your house. HOAs, I think, have a pretty rough reputation across the country, and I think here they're not as restrictive as what you're going to find in other cities across the country. However, there still are restrictions. So you want to pay attention to the HOA covenants restrictions in especially places like Chatham Hills. The most desirable places in Westfield are almost always going to have an HOA. Now, looking into Indianapolis itself, some of the places that are really popular with the luxury buyers would be Meridian Hills and Williams Creek, both very close to one another. This is where you get some of the legacy estates and some of that old money and old money charm. These are places where you have the historic heart of Indianapolis. These used to be the suburbs of Indy, but Indy's grown so much and has kind of swallowed them up, but they've still retained that luxury escape in the city. And in here in the city, you're going to get more city things. You're going to get more tree-lined streets. You're going to get more maturity. You're going to get sprawling estates, sometimes well over an acre, and architecture that is a lot more classic. So it blends some of the 20th century craftsmanship with homes that have much more modern types of updates and feels to them when you go inside. And the homes typically range from $1.5 million to $4 million or so. And of course, you get into the larger legacy estates, they're going to easily exceed that $4 million mark. Now, buyers are drawn here because they value prestige, they value proximity to downtown Indianapolis, and the ability to modernize modernize with architecture that is a little more timeless and classic. Now, of course, always something to think about when you're purchasing a home like this. A lot of these homes often sit on older infrastructure and older foundations, so you always want to budget for that, and for mechanicals, for drainage, for roof updates, always budgeting for that when you're purchasing one of these legacy estates. Now, if you look over at Geist Reservoir, this is where you get your waterfront luxury inside the Indianapolis metro. It's one of the only places where you can really truly get that lakefront lifestyle within Indianapolis. Now, Geist Reservoir is over 1,900 acres where people boat, they ski, they tube, they fish, and you can even have dining right there on the reservoir. And it's a place where you have a tremendous number of properties on the main body of water, but also you have all of these fingers and coves coming off of Geist that offer a little bit more privacy, and they're away from the noise and some of the busyness that you have on the main body in Geist. It's definitely where we see a lot of executives, professional athletes. They gravitate to it, just that Geist area, when they want that year-round vacation at home type of feeling. And then there are certain gated enclaves around Geist, like Cambridge, Canal Place, the Springs of Cambridge. That's where you can get into a lot of really custom waterfront homes that have private docks, they have pools, and then you get that panoramic view of Geist Reservoir itself. And Geist isn't just a high-end destination for Indianapolis by itself. It's also a place that shares some of the waterfront with Fishers and McCordsville. Now, exactly how Indianapolis, having that address or Fishers address or McCordsville address, it can affect you and your property in a different way around the reservoir. And so every single week, we talk to people about exactly how that is. So if you have an interest in that area, reach out to us, and we're happy to talk to you about the pros, the cons of having each one of those addresses around Geist Reservoir. Then we move over to Fishers, where you get a lot more family friendly, but not that it's not sophisticated. It is. It's family friendly sophistication. And then the fast growth of Fishers has actually evolved into more slow growth. Honestly, it's not growing as fast as it was. It's running out of room, and it's really taking on a life of its own and a cultural heart of its own. It's becoming a much more modern city that can stand on its own, really anywhere in the state, and it can stand on its own anywhere in the country. And it has a national reputation for innovation and also livability. It's been on so many top 10 lists for one of the best places to live in the country. Buyers in Fishers, other than the family-friendly feel, they love the convenience of a lot of what it offers. Parks are fantastic and spread all throughout Fishers, and then you have restaurants and retail zones, especially places like the Yard at Fishers District, which houses a huge number of restaurants that are not only for Fishers residents, but a lot of people around the area use it as a destination for dining and getting some places that are unique and different. Now, some of that luxury construction in Fishers has expanded, of course, in Geist, but it's moved east of Geist towards East Fishers. And this is a place that tends to be a little bit more quiet than the west side of Fishers, closer to downtown. So those luxury buyers wanting those newer homes in Fishers may have to look over towards the east to get a little bit more of that privacy and a little bit of the slower part of Fishers, the place with a little less energy where it's a little more dialed down. And a tip for buyers in Fishers, you definitely want to check those school boundaries. This Fishers has 2 high schools. Both are extremely highly rated, but if you have a preference of one over the other, Fishers High School versus Hamilton Southeastern High School, sometimes those districts can change very close as far as the streets go. One street to the next, you could be in a completely different school district. It'd be something to make sure that you're very, very clear on before looking at a specific home. So from Carmel's designed forward walkability to Zionsville's gated golf estates, Meridian Hills legacy and prestige, Geist's lakefront serenity, the greater Indianapolis gives affluent buyers something rare. It gives them space, privacy, and value without compromise. The number one mistake luxury buyers make is hiring an agent that isn't familiar with luxury. Well, that is me. Book a free call to chat about exactly how we can help you end up where you want to be. For high net worth buyers, getting it wrong can mean missing the right property by weeks or or overpaying by sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars because you don't know the nuances of each of those markets. I'm Jason Compton, your real estate advisor here in the greater Indy Metro, and my focus is on helping clients navigate the city's sought-after neighborhoods, from Lake Estates on Geist to really super modern golf course homes in Zionsville and Carmel. If you're considering a move or an investment here in Indianapolis, reach out anytime. I'll explore the details with you and the right areas, because in a city where wealth is really growing quietly, the right guidance and the right relationships, they make all the difference. And we'll catch you in the next one.